Hey guys, Oscar Combs here with the ISO 9001 group. And today we're going to talk about the resources that you need to effectively implement your quality management system within your organization. Do you have all the resources that you need in your company for your quality system? You may need people, you may need equipment, you may need IT, infrastructure. Let's talk about it. All right, guys. So let's talk about the resources that you need to consider when you embark upon implementing a quality system. Actually, this could be any system. It could be quality, health, safety, environmental type management systems. There are resources that are required when it comes to implementing one of these systems because you want them to be effective. You want them to actually work, so there needs to be resources behind it. Now, what kind of resources could you need? You could possibly need things like services of a consulting company. You may need services of an auditing company. If you want to pursue certification, you'll need services of a certification body. You could need software to run the system. There's documentation that you need. There's going to be people, internal team that you put together to implement these systems. And there's time that's going to be needed. Equipment that you may need to effectively run your operations per these different standards. So there's a lot of things to think of: money, funding, financing, budgeting. So these are some of the things that organizations really should think about when you are considering implementing a quality, health, safety, or environmental type of a management system. But sometimes organizations just think it's all about documents. Oh, we need a policy, we need procedures, manuals, forms, but they forget about all the other things, other resources that are needed when it comes to a quality management system. Now, if you have ISO 9001 2015, if you turn to clause 7.1.1, it talks about the resources that an organization should need or should consider when implementing a quality management system. But as I mentioned, this applies to quality, health, safety, environmental, and many other management systems in your company. So it says that the organization, your company, shall determine and provide the resources. So first off, we need to determine what resources we're going to need, right? So we really need to think about what we're doing before we embark upon this process of implementing one of these systems. So we need to determine what kind of resources are we going to need to implement this system. And then it says provide those resources, right? So do we even have the budget to provide those resources? Are these resources available internally, or do we need to go external outside of our organization to get these resources? But then it says needed for the establishment, implementation, maintenance, and continual improvement of your quality management system, right? Now, I like how it breaks it out into establishment, implement, maintain, and continually improve it, right? Because that's going to require a different level of resource or resources at each phase. You're going to need a different type of resource during the establishment, right? It's going to be probably more time, more writing. You could have a dedicated team working to develop the system. You could have a consulting company coming in to help you establish that system, write it, help you establish it. You could have you need to go purchase the standard. A lot of the resource that's needed during the establishment phase is time. time, right? Having the time to actually do that, right? And then it moves on and it says implementation, right? So from establishment, we're moving from establishment to implement, right? Now, there's a more resources that are required, different resources that are required during the implementation, right? We still need the time, but now we are starting to need other departments to get involved. We're starting to possibly need to purchase equipment. We may need to purchase other supplies, other materials, because a quality management system is not just about documentation, right? It's about implementing controls and infrastructure in your company that will produce quality, right? So to produce quality, it may require better equipment. It could require a calibration program, maintenance program, an employee training program. It could require more working closely with your supply chain, doing supplier evaluations, audits. So it's a lot more than just documents, right? So you can see during implementation, there's more resources that may be required than we had in the establishment phase. Then it says maintenance, right? So once the system is maintained, we need resources to maintain it. To maintain a system, we have to continually update our policies, our procedures. We have to train people when new people come so that they can understand. We have to do audits on our system. You know, there's a lot of, these are maintenance activities that need to be done, right? So it's a different resources that are needed at different phases. And then it says to continually improve the system. So improvement may require more resources. So what I really like about this, it says establishment, implementation, maintenance, and continual improvement. So we need to first determine and then provide the resources that we need for if we are embarking upon a quality, health, safety, environmental type management system. And then it says we need to provide those resources. Now, the next section, it says that the organization shall consider the capabilities of and the constraints on existing internal resources, right? So just because we say as a company, we are going to pursue ISO 9001, Quality Management System, or ISO 14001, Environmental Management System, or ISO 45001, Occupational Health and Safety Management System, doesn't mean that everything else stops, right? It doesn't mean that purchasing doesn't stop. It doesn't mean that sales stops, business development, marketing, human resource issues, maintenance issues on the equipment, the actual production or the services that we're providing in the field. All of those things don't stop. And so it says that we need to consider our capabilities as a company and the constraints on our existing internal resources, right? Because I have seen people or organizations try to or not really understand what this is all about, and they strain their internal resources to the point where they're frustrated. Man, I didn't know this was, I thought this was just a project. No, implementing these systems is not a project. It's the way we're doing business moving forward, right? It's not a one-time, oh, we get certified. No, it's what about after the certification? We have to consider the constraints on our resources and accommodate that, right? Because we can't have everybody all stressed out just because we chose to implement ISO 9001. You guys know what I'm talking about. Right, and then it says what needs to be obtained from external providers. This is very important because the external provider, you know, companies like ourselves, the ISO group, we provide consulting, auditing, and training. So we would be an external provider, right? We would be able to help in all of these phases, in the establishment, in the implementation, maintenance, continual improvement of the quality system, right? So think about, well, do we have these resources internally, or do we need to go outside and get these resources, right? Maybe we need to do more training. Maybe we need to purchase more new equipment, or we need to implement a calibration program, for example, right? These are all different types of things that an external provider would provide your organization. Then the standard goes on and talks about people. In 7.1.2, it talks about people, human resources, right? We sometimes don't think about people as being the human, a resource, but that's why we call it human resource. It says the organization shall determine and provide the persons, the people, necessary for the effective implementation of its quality management system and for the operation and control of its processes, right? So let's break this down a little bit. So first off, it says we need to determine what people we need, right? So a lot of organizations say, oh, we're going to implement a quality management system, HSE management system, but they haven't hired a quality or HSE person, right? Maybe they're trying to just bid on a contract or something, right? Or maybe their customer said, hey, you guys need to implement a quality system or HSE system. And then they embark upon this, but they haven't really determined what resources that they need. They're just kind of reacting to what their customer is requiring or asking of them, right? And then it says we need to determine and then provide those people that are necessary for the effective implementation of this system, right? Now, again, it also says in 7.1.1b that you need to determine what you need from external providers. Sometimes hiring people is not the best solution. Sometimes hiring a consulting company or outsourcing certain activities or having a company come in to administer or help you facilitate your quality, health, safety, environmental management system also is effective. But a lot of companies, of course, they want to have their internal people do these activities, but that comes with a cost, right? So that's the next level of resources, all the overhead that may come with, you deciding to use internal resources or hiring more internal resources or employees. That comes with a cost as well. So we need to consider all of that. Now, what do we need for the effective implementation, right? These people are needed for the implementation. They're also needed for the establishment, implementation, maintenance, and continual improvement. But this section here is talking about specifically for the effective implementation, right? You cannot effectively implement a quality, health, safety, and or environmental management system if you do not have the appropriate people that are experienced in these areas, people that are qualified in these areas, people that are passionate about these areas of quality, health, safety, and environment. A lot of companies just try to throw a body at it. This person may not even be passionate about it, or this may not even be something that they want to do. They may be voluntold to do it. And I've never really seen those situations work out. So the organization really needs to consider the people that they put on their quality, health, safety, and environmental management system, right? And it also says we need the people for the operation and control of its processes. Now, when it comes to quality, we're not just talking about documentation. Like, quality is your equipment, It's your production, it's your services that you provide to your customers. It's how you take an order in, it's how you enter that order, it's how you order the supplies and the material for that order, the equipment that you are using that is properly maintained, calibrated. It's quality. The quality system is all of that. It's not just the documentation. A lot of organizations think that. And then it talks about the control of its processes, right? So all of these things need to be controlled, and we need to have people in place to do it. All right. Next section talks about 7.1.3 is infrastructure. It says the organization shall determine, provide, and maintain the infrastructure necessary for the operation of its processes and to achieve conformity of products and services to your customers. Now, I just added that little piece to your customers, but again, when it comes to quality, health, safety, environmental, we need to provide the infrastructure for that. Now, it talks about infrastructure could be a building, your facility. Now, I've been to a lot of facilities where the facility itself would prevent the organization from producing quality product. I've been in facilities where the equipment is not well maintained, it's not running to peak performance, and it's always breaking down, or maybe it needs to be upgraded, right? It's not calibrated. So the infrastructure could be the transportation, how the forklifts, or it could be the trucking that we use. It could be the overhead cranes, right? I mean, it's a lot of different things when it comes to moving things around from point A to point B. This could be hardware. It could be software, right? So people, trying to analyze things using Excel spreadsheets, or when maybe we really should be using an enterprise resource planning system, an ERP system, right? Or maybe we have people out here using old applications where maybe we need to consider upgrading that so that we can, take advantage of all those upgrades that has been implemented. Could be IT, right? Do we have proper internet access? Is it fast, fast speed? Is it broadband? Is it, high-speed internet access? Do we have things where people can do things remotely? Nowadays, that's a very important element. Do we have a way where people, when they're in the field, can they connect to the network? Is the network secure, right? It's a lot of things that we need to think about when it comes to infrastructure, right? Is it comfortable? Is it AC? When it's in the middle of summer, people are sweating and they can't concentrate, and then we wonder why we have a lot of nonconformities. Well, people are stressed out. They're not paying attention, right? These are the things that we're talking about, or the standard is talking about when it's talking about infrastructure. So guys, again, when it comes to implementing a quality, health, safety, environmental management system, I really want you to take the time and think about the resources. Do we have the resources that we need? People, time, budget, equipment, facilities, IT, all these different things, guys, that you need when it comes to implementing an effective quality, health, safety, and/or environmental management system. Hey guys, let me know what you think about this topic. What do you think about this topic of resources? What does your company have when it comes to resources for your quality, health, safety, environmental management system? Take a moment and drop your comment below and let us know what you think. We really want to know. Take the time to like, share this video. We encourage you to subscribe to our channel. Oscar Combs with the ISO 9001 group, helping organizations improve their operations and reduce their risks. Talk to you later now. Bye-bye.